we have in the second portion, Exodus 31, Shemot 31, verse 18, it says, when God finished speaking with Moshe on Mount Sinai, he gave him the 2 tablets of testimony, tablets of stone, inscribed by the finger of God. The next chapter, first verse, same aliyah, it says, the people saw that Moshe had delayed in coming down from the mountain. The people gathered around Aaron and said to him, arise. And this is the Chabad translation that I'm reading right now. It says, arise, make us substitute leaders who will lead us, because this man Moshe, who led us up out of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him. I understand that the Chabad version is very interpretive, not very literal, but I really like the way that it translates it sometimes, including in this portion right here. Now, obviously, the people knew the truth, right? They knew that it wasn't a golden calf that led them out of Egypt. It was the invisible God that led them out of Egypt. But I believe that they were afraid. And I also believe that they felt like Hashem abandoned them, Moshe being his servant, that, the only representative that they really saw of God had abandoned them. And so in order to keep the morale high, and in order to keep the people going and not go crazy, was to give them a symbol that they had been used to in their time in Egypt. And it was this golden calf. So that's what they did. And so I think what we can learn from this is that we should not lose faith when Hashem does things that are not according to what we think he should do. And there's a very similar story regarding King Saul, when the prophet was supposed to meet with him and they were supposed to do sacrifices, and the people were waiting for a very long time. And the prophet didn't show up when they thought that he would, and they started complaining. And King Saul, in order to placate the people, he decided to do the sacrifices himself, which he was not allowed to do. And then when the prophet finally arrived, King Saul was rebuked harshly, and part of him losing the kingdom was because of that action. And again, it was because the people did not trust Hashem and in his timeline or in his methods. And so they pressured the king to do what they wanted, or perhaps it wasn't just them, it was also the king. King Saul also didn't like the way God was doing things. And so he took it upon his own hands to do what he felt was right, even though the prophet said not to do. And I think that we also have to exercise a lot of caution, being in the position that we are in. Recently, someone contacted us and they joined us for service, and they were telling us about their testimony. And the person asked me, they said, who do you believe the 2 witnesses are of the book of Revelation? And having studied this in terms of both Christian and Jewish approaches, my understanding is that the 2 witnesses are Moses and Elijah, that this is a very Jewish understanding. And it's also reflective of when Yeshua went to the mountain, and he was visited by apparitions of Moshe and Elijah. And then Peter wanted to build them 3, I think it was 3 Sukkot or something like that, because around the time of Sukkot. So these are the 2 witnesses, and I don't know if these are symbolic witnesses or actually going to be Moses and Elijah. I believe that it's not actually Moses and Elijah, but their spirit in terms of a movement and what each stands for. Moshe standing for the Torah, and the commandments, and Elijah standing for that great incoming day of Hashem, where Hashem will send Messiah, heralded by Elijah. So I believe Elijah stands for the heralding of Messiah, which is talked about in Malachi chapter 4. Anyways, but then she went on to tell me about all the miracles that this one ministry did, and how she was healed by this ministry, and how this ministry had followers, thousands of followers all around the globe. And she basically, it seemed like she was there to get me to accept these people as prophets of God. And she was trying to convince me that, I probably had a lot of questions in my mind, and to go ahead and ask them so that she could answer them, so that I could basically believe. And basically I had no questions and had nothing to ask her. But there were some passages that were running through my mind during that time. One of them is, to the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, it is because there is no light in them. And to the law, this is the Torah, to the Torah, and to the testimony, ha'edut, this is talking about the tablets of stone. Right here in our verse that I just read, he gave him 2 tablets of testimony. So to the Torah and to the testimony, if they speak not according to this word, there is no light in them. So it doesn't matter to me if these prophets have tons of miracles behind them and have thousands of followers all around the world. Because I know, as a Jew who studies the Torah and the Tanakh and the sages, etc., that Hashem himself will send prophets to Israel and the whole rest of the world. And it even says in the Torah that if a prophet comes among you and he prophesies things and they come true, but yet they tell you to walk contrary to the Torah, do not listen to them. Do not follow them. So Hashem is warning us. He's saying there will come prophets. Yeshua said things like that. They will come in my name and perform great miracles. But if they don't speak according to the Torah, it is a test. It is a test for us that we must withstand. We do not follow miracles. We follow the greatest miracle, the greatest revelation that has ever been given to mankind because of the sheer number of witnesses, which is the miracle at Sinai, which was witnessed not by a handful of disciples or 1 or 2 people, but a whole nation of people, hundreds of thousands of people. And there is no miracle that has ever matched that miracle at Sinai, nor, I believe, will there ever be. Even Yeshua's resurrection was only witnessed by a handful of people, and it's highly contested. There's no other miracle like the miracle at Sinai. And this is not to discredit Yeshua. Obviously, I am a believer and follower of Yeshua. But that I just want to say, to my children, to our friends here that are listening to us today, the Torah says, thou shalt not follow, thou shalt not incline towards a majority to do evil. We have mega churches all over the world. The Reform synagogues who are not observant in Torah are usually much more rich and packed with people than the Orthodox ones that are observant. Numbers do not matter. If we learn anything from the Torah, we know that the majority is usually against God and against his prophets. We do not have to think or worry that because we are in the minority, because we're not doing what everyone else does, because whatever it is, whatever the thoughts are that are within our head, we never have to worry about that. We may be small in number, like the Maccabees, or weak or powerless, or the underdog, not in political power, like the Jewish people were in the days of Purim. Yet we know that Hashem is with us, even in our captivity, even in our oppression, even in our slavery, like Yosef, even in times when it looks like we are poor and destitute and helpless and powerless. Our God is greater than all other gods. And we don't have to worry about being in the minority. And I just wanted to end with a verse that calls for our perseverance. And this is what Benei Avraham is all about. Revelation chapter 14, verse 12. I'll go ahead and read the Berean Standard Bible version. It says, here is a call. Here is a call. It's calling us. A call for the perseverance of the saints, the holy ones. Who, and it's going to define who are these saints that this book is calling. Those who keep the commandments of God and hold to the faith of Yeshua, who persevere in this faith, the faith that Yeshua had, the faith that even in the midst of darkness, and Yeshua showed the same faith, even when everyone else was against him, and he was about to lose his life for what he believed, yet he still persevered, and he still held on to his mission, to God's mission, and to the Torah.